Hey everybody, my name is Josh Flores. I'm the Director of English Language Arts at the State Department of Education in the Office of Instruction. And this is another really quick PD on Your Plan module. Today's focus is organization in writing. So how do we teach students to organize their writing, their thoughts on paper? I'm going to talk about a really practical strategy and also talk about a tool to help track all that student writing. So writing's a lot like building with Legos. When you're first learning how to write, you start by writing letters, and you put those letters together with other letters to form words. But then you put those words together with other words to form sentences. And eventually you got a whole novel written out. So one of the best strategies for teaching writing is to present models and have students break apart those models, move sentences around. Well, why not do the same thing with entire paragraphs? If you already played with the idea of sentence strips in your classrooms, well, bring it up a notch. Take a sample writing. It can be a student essay, it can be a professional essay, and just cut out the paragraphs into separate cards. Pair students up, give them the cards, and tell them, hey, try putting that in order. When your students have put it in order, that's not where you stop, that's where you just start the learning, because you're going to ask them, well, why? What were the clues that helped inform you why this is the correct order? Or is it the correct order? Compare with neighboring students and see what they put in the correct order, but also you're going to want them to, off to the side, justify. Now in this one in particular, I gave them a really nice big poster paper for them to tape their answers on, and then off to the side talk about what informed them about each paragraph that let them know why this is the order, why this is the beginning, why this is the middle, and why this is the end. You can do different strategies too. Sticky notes are always a cheaper alternative, and everybody loves sticky notes. They can actually mark on the cards too if you don't plan on using them again. If you want to and have a friendly helper, like at my school I had the librarian, she was super nice to laminate everything for me, and then you can have them use Visa markers or just regular markers and mark on the paper. But that's one way to get them to critically look at how other people organize their writing. So how do you keep track of all this? Maybe you want to save their work and keep a portfolio going of all their writing that they're doing. Not only this here, but if you wanted to have them write their own essay out and back it up, one of my favorite apps, as you know, is called Evernote, and it's great because it's free. And unlike a lot of that technology that is used in education, it's something that is constantly updated and kept up with, and it's as complex or as simple as you want it to be. So we're going to keep it simple, and I want to take this writing and back it up and talk about it with my peers. Say at my PLC meeting, it's very basic. At the top you have choices to create a text note or a note with a picture in it. And we're gonna create a picture in it by pressing the camera. And I don't have the most advanced iPhone because that's expensive. This is an older model, and that's okay. If you don't have an iPhone, Evernote's also available on any Android phone. If you're fortunate enough to have an iPad or an Android tablet, you can get Evernote on that as well. But I'm going to use the camera feature to take a picture of this writing. Click and save. There we go. I saved it, and now it's backing up to the magic cloud. And now let's go to my computer. So here's Evernote on my computer with everything in my life scanned and backed up. Let me make sure everything's synced, and it's gonna download very quickly that picture I took. There it is. Now I have a digital copy of my students' work. And of course I can take it to any faculty meeting if I wanted to show off, hey, look how great my kids are. They're really smart. You should probably do whatever I'm doing in my classroom. Or I can even create a web page out of their work. Definitely want to mark out names, and I'll show you how to do that. That's what it'll look like as a web page. So you can show it and brag along to your friends and colleagues, or email their work to their parents, so the parents can see how awesome their kid's doing in your classroom. Of course, they wouldn't be doing that awesome if it wasn't for a fantastic teacher. But say I need to mark out their names, or if I'm gonna go over it with the whole class and I'm gonna make notes on this, well, that's okay. You can just right-click and click on annotate this image. And built into Evernote is a program called Sketch, and it allows you to mark up copies of essays. You can play with all the tools here in the left bar. Of course, there's arrows if you want to point out something that's particularly brilliant. You can also use this tool to type out messages right on the paper. Leave shapes and circles. Highlight particularly wonderful passages. It has a sticker system too, so if you have something that you wanted to point out, say, wow, good job, you made a perfect thesis statement. You can put questionable things like, I don't think this makes any sense right here. If you're gonna share this work in, say, a public place, you can also pixelate out students' names. And then just close it and it's automatically backed up. But what about that link you made? Don't worry about it. When you go and resync everything in Evernote, it automatically syncs to the link. How awesome is that? It's all digital, it's all free, it's accessible from anywhere, and it saves a lot of desk space because we already got enough papers on our school desks or in our file cabinets. If you've been at the ELA OK Teachers website, you may have seen a post not too long ago all about where to get student sample writing. Hopefully you have some sort of procedures in place where you're keeping track of all your students' writing, because it is very informative. It's great to save a range of student writing samples to look at each year, but it's also great to show students their fellow peers' work. So that's all for this quick episode of PD on Your Plan. The research will be available on the website when this goes live. Remember, it's by George Hillocks. Lots of great research on writing by George Hillocks. If you have any questions or comments or feedback, did you try any of these strategies in your classroom? What tweaks did you have to make? Please leave some suggestions, comments, victories in the posting box at the bottom of the page. Thanks, and I'll see you later.